St. Petersburg's Baltic Canal attack, how a surprise strike crippled Russia's $30 billion trade route. In a dramatic and unexpected turn of events, Russia's St. Petersburg Baltic Canal, one of the country's most vital trade and energy export routes, was abruptly shut down following a massive surprise attack that shocked Moscow and the global market. The incident has triggered panic within the Kremlin, with Russian authorities scrambling to assess the scale of damage and the broader economic implications of losing a route worth nearly $30 billion annually. The St. Petersburg Baltic Canal, also known as the main Baltic shipping corridor, connects Russia's industrial heartland to the Baltic Sea, serving as a key artery for exporting oil, gas, coal, and other resources to Europe and beyond. Losing it, even temporarily, has dealt a serious blow to Russia's economy, already struggling under international sanctions, declining oil revenues, and the ongoing war in Ukraine. The attack that shook Russia. According to early reports, the canal was targeted in a coordinated nighttime assault involving precision drones and underwater explosives. The explosions reportedly destroyed sections of the canal's infrastructure, causing multiple vessels to capsize and halting all cargo traffic. Russian emergency services and naval units rushed to the scene, but it took hours to contain the fires and prevent a larger environmental disaster. Initial investigations point to a highly sophisticated operation, far beyond the capabilities of small rebel groups or random saboteurs. Some analysts suggest that Ukrainian special forces or Western-backed operatives could be responsible, although Kiev has neither confirmed nor denied involvement. For Moscow, the attack is more than just a military or infrastructure setback. It's a psychological and economic strike that exposes vulnerabilities deep within Russia's own territory. The canal lies hundreds of kilometers from the Ukrainian front lines, which raises serious questions about how the attackers managed to reach such a heavily guarded region undetected. Economic and strategic fallout. The immediate consequence of the attack is a severe disruption in trade. The St. Petersburg Canal handles millions of tons of goods each month, including exports of crude oil, liquefied natural gas (LNG), and grain. Following the explosion, global energy markets reacted sharply. Oil prices spiked by nearly 4% in a single day, while European importers began bracing for supply chain delays. The Russian Ministry of Transport has confirmed that all shipping operations through the canal are suspended indefinitely, pending repair work and security evaluation. Some reports suggest that the damage could take months to repair, given the complexity of underwater pipelines, docks, and power infrastructure affected by the blasts. This loss comes at a time when Russia is already facing immense pressure from Western sanctions and declining export revenues. Experts warn that the attack could cost Russia billions in lost trade and undermine investor confidence even further. Moscow's reaction: panic and propaganda. The Kremlin's initial response was defensive. State media labeled the attack a terrorist act orchestrated by Western intelligence, while Russian officials vowed retaliation. President Vladimir Putin reportedly held an emergency security meeting, describing the incident as an unprecedented act of economic aggression. In a televised address, Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu announced the deployment of additional anti-drone systems and naval patrols around key infrastructure across the Baltic region. Russian officials also hinted at cyber retaliation against NATO-aligned countries, accusing them of indirectly supporting acts of hybrid warfare. However, despite Moscow's public confidence, insiders claim the government is in crisis mode. The canal's closure exposes how vulnerable Russia's infrastructure remains to asymmetric warfare, particularly as Ukraine and its allies increasingly rely on advanced drone technology and intelligence sharing to strike deep into Russian territory. Ukraine's silence and Western reaction. Kiev has remained notably quiet about the incident. Ukrainian officials neither confirmed nor denied involvement, but described it as a natural consequence of aggression. Western governments, including the US and UK, refused to comment directly, but defense analysts in Europe called it a strategic wake-up call for Moscow. NATO sources say the attack underscores a new phase of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, one where Ukraine and its partners may focus on striking economic and energy choke points inside Russia instead of purely military targets. The West is likely to watch Russia's reaction carefully. Any overreaction or escalation could lead to a new spiral of tension in the Baltic region, a zone already crowded with NATO forces and naval exercises. Regional and global implications. The St. Petersburg Canal shutdown doesn't just hurt Russia, but it also affects global shipping routes. Several European importers rely on Russian ports for goods and raw materials, and their disruption could lead to temporary shortages or increased prices. Moreover, Russia's neighbors in the Baltic region, including Finland, Estonia, and Latvia, have increased their military alert levels amid fears of potential Russian retaliation or further sabotage attempts. The environmental damage is another concern. Satellite imagery reportedly shows large oil slicks near the blast site, raising fears of ecological contamination in the Gulf of Finland. From a strategic standpoint, the attack also signals a major escalation in hybrid warfare. Infrastructure such as bridges, oil terminals, and transport corridors are now prime targets in modern conflicts, where economic paralysis can be as devastating as battlefield defeats. Russia's next steps. Repair crews have begun working under heavy military protection, but experts estimate that full canal operations may not resume for several months. In the meantime, Russia is likely to reroute some exports through alternative Baltic ports like Ust-Luga and Murmansk, though these options come with higher costs and logistical limitations. Politically, the Kremlin will likely use the incident to rally domestic support and justify harsher security measures. However, the psychological impact on Russian elites and citizens alike is unmistakable. If an enemy can hit St. Petersburg, no part of Russia is truly safe. Conclusion. The St. Petersburg Baltic Canal attack marks one of the most daring and strategically significant strikes of the entire conflict. Beyond the immediate economic losses, it symbolizes a new era of vulnerability for Russia, one where advanced technology, precision drones, and asymmetric tactics can penetrate even its most secure strongholds. As global powers brace for Moscow's next move, one thing is clear. This isn't just a blow to Russia's economy, it's a blow to its image of invincibility. The Baltic Canal shutdown could very well become the moment that redefines the balance of power in the ongoing geopolitical struggle between Russia, Ukraine, and the West.